What is a secret recovery phrase?
It's a special phrase that protects your digital wallet.
Well, let's make it simple. NFTs are changing the world, and change can feel complicated and scary. But listen, you don't need a computer science degree. You don't need to learn how to code. You just need practical skills to win.
If you are here, you are in the 1% of humans that are preparing for this major cultural shift. We're going to keep it fun. We're going to keep it light. We're going to make it practical. Welcome to NFTs Made Simple.
Just a reminder, we're not financial advisors. This is not financial advice, and you should do your own research.
Hey, let's get into it.
So what is a secret recovery phrase? A secret recovery phrase is the 12-word phrase which serves as the master key generated by your wallet, which we covered in the last episode. These words help you recover your funds in case your computer crashes or anything else happens which may prevent you from accessing your digital wallet on the computer in which it's installed. So in the past, Dragon, if you forget your password, you just click the forget your password button, you get an email, and you're like, that was easy. It doesn't work the same with digital wallets, right?
Yeah, it's really interesting, and it's one of the potential fear points associated with, we have to remember what we're talking about, because we very often lose sight of the fact that we're talking about money here, because we're changing the way we call it. People are now starting to show digital images to depict how much money they have. So one of the dangers in that is that you might forget that we're talking about money here, but we are. You're currently using your US money or whatever your currency is to buy this cryptocurrency. So we want to be very, very careful with that. So in a previous episode, we talked about storing this in a wallet, and one of the steps in doing so to protect that wallet from wrongdoers is to create this secret recovery phrase. Basically, what does that look like? Is you go through this one step, and everybody goes through it, where you'll see a 12-word phrase, which, it's irrelevant what it says. It could be like apple, orange, zucchini, elephant, whatever.
I was thinking donut.
Or donut. So that phrase is really important, because to you, it looks like a bunch of words, but to the system, those words create a, unique identification number that really is the passcode to get into your wallet. I would say the easiest way to explain what the secret recovery phrase is in real time is that would be the equivalent of knowing somebody's username and password to get into their bank account, in which they could do whatever they wanted with the money. So secret recovery phrase is your way of getting into your wallet. Now, I haven't had to use my secret recovery phrase for anything, because I'm just interacting. Like, I can send money and receive money into my wallet. But the only way that I could ever recover my wallet for whatever reason would be to have my secret recovery phrase. So that's what it means for me. But what's really important, and this is what we need to talk about, is that if anybody else finds that secret recovery phrase, which gets coded into this unique identification number, technically and apparently very, very easily, they would be able to use that secret recovery phrase to get into your wallet and in a very, very short time, take all of your assets. So case in point, this is something that we need to, the first place I stored mine was I took a screenshot of it and I kept it in this secret vault app in my phone. And then the next day somebody says, don't do that.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
And you don't want to keep it anywhere that anyone could find it. So currently what I'm doing is I've written them down, and I keep them hard copy, in my office in 2 different places. Maybe I'm a little bit paranoid, but I don't want anyone to find that. So that's what I'm doing, is I'm making sure nobody can get in my wallet.
Yes, let's just lay down a few key things that you definitely don't want to get wrong when it comes to secret recovery phrases, because like you said, that's like giving someone the keys to your bank vault. You don't want to do that, right? It doesn't really matter. Like, you might say, but Mark, I really trust my wife. I love her so much. Listen, be very careful, right? I'm not second guessing the love that you have for your spouse.
We just lost all of our female listeners right there.
Yeah. Well, listen.
Because they all left this podcast to go find out what their husband's secret recovery phrase is.
Yeah. Right. And actually, it's an interesting, I'll just give you a quick backstory. When I first started buying into Bitcoin, this was like 4 or 5 years ago, which, by the way, everyone told me I was crazy. Who's laughing now?
Mm-hmm.
But when I bought it on a marketplace, and I bought it and I came back 3 years later. I couldn't remember my password information, and I was freaking out. I thought I wouldn't be able to get it back because I just set it and forget it. Thankfully, it was bought on a central marketplace, so I was able to recover it and do the 2-factor authentication. But again, with secret recovery phrases, you don't have that level of security. So again, few key concepts here. Never share it. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2, never share it. Okay? So those are 2 things. And the other thing, Dragon, that you said that's really important is you don't want to store it in a digital environment, because digital environments can be hacked, right? In the last episode, we talked about the pros and cons of hard wallet, hot wallet versus cold wallet. It's the same concept here. You know, you want to save it in something that's tangible, like writing it down in a few pieces of paper. You know, you probably don't want to store them in the same room, because what if a fire breaks out in your room? You know, maybe you're going to put it in a safety deposit box somewhere. Maybe you're going to bury it in a hole in the middle of the desert. Like, just think about where you want to save. And I think saving in a few different places. You don't want to save it in a Google form. You don't really want to save it in a place that could be hacked digitally, right? You don't want to take screenshots, etc. Hey, what's up? Mark here. Just want to take you on a quick break with a resource I think is really going to help you. Some of the concepts that we're covering in the show sound really complicated and really technical. But listen, you don't need to code. You don't need to get a master's degree in computer science. All you need to do is have the right resources. We're going to make it simple. We're going to make it easy. I've got a link below. Go to www.nftsmadesimple.com. That's nftsmadesimple.com. You're going to get a free cheat sheet there. It's 100% free. What are you waiting for? Go get the cheat sheet. We're going to break down some of the key definitions in ways that are really practical and really simple. Go to www.nftsmadesimple.com right now to get your free cheat sheet. That's nftsmadesimple.com. All right, let's get back into the show. Another cool thing that I've seen, Dragon, with secret recovery phrases, I've heard of people, because, you know, like paper and ink, they tend to die down time. Like, how many people have gotten a number from, you know, a hot girl or hot guy? They wrote it down, and all of a sudden they wake up in the morning and the beer smudged the number. Oh man, you don't want that. So another option I've heard is you actually weld the secret recovery phrase onto like a piece of metal, a piece of iron.
Jesus.
Anything else that you've heard, Dragon, people doing?
Well, what's interesting about what you're saying is that to the person that has not put their money into cryptocurrency, and keep in mind the concept of the decentralized blockchain space to put your money. The alluring part of that is that is a safe, decentralized place where nobody can manipulate it. But that comes at a cost where you have to also protect it. But it's just crazy for the person that's looking at this that doesn't have their money in there yet. They're just thinking, God, that just seems so crazy. But if you had, you know, $50,000 of savings money or more, because a lot of people have a lot more, you know, you would, of course, take an extra step to protect it. But I think, you know, what would be I to the listeners, I would love to find out from the listeners if they can reach out to us and just come up with these creative ways, because we're still pioneers in this environment. Like, I'd love to know, like, maybe somebody's got it tattooed on themselves, but then they're like, oh shit, you know. And what's probably coming in the future would be face recognition, you know, or maybe fingerprinting and stuff like this, or maybe Elon Musk is creating a new chip where you can store it in your skull or something. But either way, there's no perfect way to do it. So what's really important is that you take it seriously and just recognize that is the portal of entry for somebody to come into your wallet. And one of the things that I'm seeing now in my research is, you know, wherever the money goes, you know, the wrongdoers go as well, because there's people that make a living out of trying to screw other people over. It's just natural. So there's going to be fishers out there. There's going to be people fishing, you know, just like every now and then. I've been getting a lot of emails from Amazon saying, hey, thanks for your $1,200 purchase, which I didn't make. If you have any problem with this, click on this link. So that's what I mean, where people are fishing for you to log into your Amazon account so they can go buy stuff. So that's going to start happening now as well. So if anybody ever asks you, this is something that everybody should get in the practice of. If anybody ever asks you for your secret phrase, before you even consider any component of doing something stupid, always make sure that you're looking at the links where it came from, the emails where it came from. You can always see that it's not a reputable link, and then just back up to this idea of just never sharing it with anybody ever.
Yeah. Anybody that ever asks you for your secret recovery phrase, those 12 words, report and block. No good actor will ever ask you for that secret phrase. And you also bring up a good point. You never, ever click on a link from someone that you don't know. That is giving that's giving bad actors a backstage pass. I think as a rule of thumb, Dragon, and I think this is a difficult thing. If ever something feels off, it probably is off. If you get that tingle in the back of your head, the problem, I think the challenge, I think what makes this whole digital space, this Web3 space, this NFT space so nerve-wracking for people is they realize that there's bad actors out there, but because there's so many different things to learn, it's hard to tell the good from the bad. And I think for me and you, that's one of the main goals with this show. Let's make it practical. Let's lay up the base concept that you need to actually get involved and to learn in a safe environment. So Dragon and me, we will never DM you and ask you for your secret recovery phrase. I promise you that. So again, keep it secret, keep it safe, just like it's the ring from Lord of the Rings. And I think if you follow some of these core concepts we talked about, you're going to be just fine. You're going to be just fine.
I will say, though, that Mark and I are, just so you guys know, for those of you that are enjoying this podcast, we're creating an entire backlog of special episodes that have like content that we're not doing on the podcast. And if you're interested in that, just send us your secret phrase and we'll put you into an environment where you can get all that stuff. So that's what it's going to sound like. It's going to sound like something like that. Case in point, you'll see what this is. You'll go through the process and you'll save it and you'll be smart about that. And if you get a creative way, please share it with us. But what's really important to know is that, this is an unknown frontier that we're moving into, and they're coming up with these ways that will probably change over time to protect us from this. As we're moving into this environment a lot faster than we moved into the internet when it first came out. That was a slow process, and all of a sudden it was there. We're very much aware because you're seeing social media and videos, and everybody seems to be selling you on an idea. Mark and I were talking about another reason why we created this podcast is you can go on YouTube and find videos that have like 2 million views that say like NFTs for dummies or blockchain for dummy or wallets for dummy. And you can watch it and say, well, I guess I'm a dummy because I don't really understand it. So it's important to understand that we're going through this process and we're inviting you to come along with us, and we're not rushing into anything. We're going to learn this stuff as we go, and so will you.
If you're listening now, you are in the 1% of human beings, and you are propelling yourself, your family, your legacy in the right direction. Our promise is we're going to make it fun. We're going to keep it practical. You don't need to code. You don't need to code. So we're going to keep it fun. And just to kind of close out this episode, when it comes to your secret recovery phrase, never share it with anybody. All right. So the next episode, we're going to be talking about marketplaces, Dragon. Why don't we click over to the next episode? We could kind of talk about, now that we've got our wallet set up, now that we've got our secret recovery phrase, how do we actually buy an NFT? Let's get into the next episode.